Hello guys, and welcome back to Faith, the Unholy Trinity. In the last episode, if you don't remember, we finished up Chapter 1. We fought against Amy. Things didn't go so well, but, we drove away from the house with our lives intact. We're not in jail. We're not beaten up by a bunch of deer, so I'm happy. In this episode, we're starting off the Chapter 2 prologue. So this is actually a demo. This was actually the demo for Chapter 2. And it's actually completely different from the main actual Chapter 2. There are a lot of similarities, but this does in fact take place before the actual Chapter 2. In the previous episode, we ended by, driving off into the sunset, or I guess driving off into the moon or something like that, because it was the middle of the night. And in this episode, we start off with a car crash. We've crashed into this creepy person who is completely in red, perhaps related to that group of hooded characters, or, the red writing that we saw in the previous episode. If we move back to the car, it's completely on fire. And then we move back here, and wouldn't you know it, in the split second that we looked away, the red person is gone. They have left the car and gone up into the woods, meaning they are out there. Well, not woods. The previous episode took place in the woods. This takes place in a cornfield, more like. And we can see the red person over in the corn stalks running away there. Interesting little bit of trivia about the demo here is it's the only thing that's not included in this game's marathon mode, which is a bonus mode that I didn't mention previously, where you play all 3 chapters right in a row. That demon, by the way, you need to notice where the the corn stalks are bending, and then you only need to use your crucifix on it for a tiny bit. I always get anxious and try to run away, but that thing is faster than you. It will catch up to you, and it will end up killing you, so be careful. But yeah, this thing isn't included in marathon mode. Holy crap, that's scary. But yeah, it's not included in marathon mode. Which, speaking of marathon mode, that reminds me that I've played this game a lot. I think I have 60 hours across the past year that I've played this game. Also, there's a huge gaping hole in the scarecrow's head now. I think that means we defeated the demon. It said a bunch of weird stuff like, we know what you did, and you reap what you sow. This is sad right here. But yeah, the only achievement from this game that I haven't got in my 60 hours of playtime is the Good Christian Boy achievement, which you get for completing marathon mode without dying, which I just cannot do. I always die at either the last boss fight of Chapter 2 or one of the boss fights from Chapter 3. I just can't seem to beat it, no matter how hard I try. About a week ago, we started hearing those awful noises coming from the adjacent fields. After 3 nights, the children were getting pretty scared. I told them that it was just coyotes. That 3rd night, the noises seemed closer than ever. The dogs were panicking. I could hardly approach them. Then Greta, the last of that old line brought over by the German missionaries, broke loose and tore off into the corn. We all listened, too scared to go after her as her barks faded away into the distance. After that, we had 2 nights of silence beside the endless whispering of the wind blowing through the crops. But then, this morning, I stepped outside to see this fresh horror left at the edge of the field. There's something out there. So poor Greta here seemingly got torn up by some sort of demon, but that note was left by someone who's seemingly living nearby or something like that, or doing something nearby. So that means that there's something important out here that's seemingly happening. What more could I have done? I warned them not to go into the fields. I warned them against straying too far from the sanctuary. Should I have shut them in their quarters and nailed boards over the doors? Now I am digging 6 graves here in the shadow of the church, 6 little graves forever looking to St. William. Some of the boxes are empty. The scattered remains we found couldn't fill them all. But I know they're all gone. I know their souls were taken by that thing in the field. I will finish my gruesome work and then renounce the ministry. I don't want to see anyone from the sanctuary ever again, not even that girl who stayed inside the house last night. I don't believe in the devil anymore. whatever did this is much, much worse. So we see the 6 graves right over here, and the fact that we, heard mentions of children earlier, and the graves were described as little, it seems that 6 kids were murdered by whatever the hell is out in this cornfield. If we move up, we see the church here that, was sort of talked about previously, because whoever's writing these notes mentioned, the ministry and St. William. Interestingly enough, if you go into the goodies folder for this game, there's a painting of a church. This painting is actually kind of important, so keep this in mind for later. But this church, that painting, a lot of the stuff is all connected to to the weird creature out there and the deaths of all these kids. Oh. Fun. Well, that's reassuring. We have a new volunteer to look after the children and take care of things around the sanctuary. Sister Bell. She came highly recommended by the main office in Hartford. Bringing her in marks the completion of staffing the church after all these years. The church has been very careful about letting out what happened to those children. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one left who knows about it. Soon I'll be gone, and the sanctuary will be able to go back into service, having finally left those dark times behind. We've even received clearance to move in a new group of children. 3 next week, and another 3 sometime next month. Why would you move in new children to this place? Obviously creepy shit is happening. I mean, I get that this note is suggesting that the deaths of those kids happened a long time ago, but stop bringing kids into these woods where, some sort of weird creature... I assume the creature is still out there, so don't bring kids into these weird woods, you gosh dang idiots. But I guess if people didn't act like, complete dolts half the time, we wouldn't have any horror stuff, so it's whatever. Is there something that... Could have sworn there was an Easter egg. Maybe I'm thinking of the main part of chapter 2. Whatever. Oh, hey, demon here. Just hit it with your cross a couple of times, and it goes away. Sister Bell seems like a naturally cheery person, but when the new children arrived, she became positively elated. She doles over them constantly, takes them on walks, and tells them stories into the night. I have seen her engaging in strange behavior. We don't teach the children much dancing or singing besides what is found in the hymns, but I've seen the children dancing around Sister Bell in a circle from time to time. While they dance, she stands still and looks up at the sky as if listening to something. On another occasion, I found all 6 children standing in a line just outside of the cornfield. They were all looking into the field where Sister Bell was standing and talking to them. These odd games don't bother me too much since she's so good with the children. Her cleaning is excellent too. As soon as she arrived, she seemed to just instantly know her way around. So that's twice that this Sister Bell was mentioned, and she's talking to this new group of kids out in the cornfield playing weird games. She knows her way around the church, and just so strange to listen to. Also, an interesting thing to note that I probably should have brought up before is that in the previous chapter... Oh, cross fell off the wall. In the previous chapter, John's cross was gold. Now, it's silver. I'll bring up what this means a little bit later. So we could see a hatch down there that led to a staircase, but it's closed right now. So we've got to find a way to open it. They couldn't have given me a worse last case before retirement. Old Catholic church out in the middle of nowhere, 1 missing woman, 4 missing kids, and 1 deceased old nun. The brothers and sisters, or whatever the hell the people that work here call themselves, are all terrified and, worse, superstitious. All except Father Clark, who runs the place. Him and I drive along the farm roads at night, looking for signs of the missing people. And he makes for pretty good company. There are 2 kids left. Say they were asleep the night the 4 went missing. They also claim that the woman, Miriam Bell, isn't actually gone. When I ask where she is, they look at each other, then back at me, and tell me to ask her myself. So it seems that Miriam, the weird, creepy, person talking to all these kids and doing creepy games and stuff like that in the church, is evil, shockingly enough. Also, you can see a little demon in the window there. I think that's really creepy and cool. But yeah, she caused 4 more kids to go missing, so that's 10 in total. And there were 2 that stayed behind, that survived. So keep that in mind. 2 kids at a church. We're sort of seeing a new mystery here because the last chapter was all about the Martin family household. The whole plot of that was Martin family, normal sort of family. They live out in the woods. Father away at like the army or something like that, or some sort of overseas stuff. Mother stays at home, doing homeschooling for her kids. When their daughter Amy suddenly got possessed, and John Ward and Father Allred were called to go ahead and fix everything. There's another demon right there. John Ward, Father Allred called to fix everything. Things go awry, and John is left with like pretty much PTSD. Like, I don't know if it's actual PTSD, but he has constant nightmares, and like, he thinks about it a lot, obviously.
I will not bless your child.
There's another red figure right there that's seemingly also related to that, that group of hooded figures and person in the car, whole thing. But yeah, we understand the plot of the first chapter. It's just like normal family. One of the daughters gets possessed, and 2 priests get called to fix it. The parents and one of the priests seemingly dies. John escapes, Amy escapes. A year later, John tries to help Amy again, and he's once again unable to help her, and he leaves. This time, we're learning about kids going missing at a church, and something about Sister Bell. I'm just restating all of this stuff just to make everything very, very clear. Just so you're not lost at all during any of this. This morning we found these very odd objects around the church. The best way I could describe them would be large, life-size dolls made of sticks and dead tree branches. Someone must have placed them there while we were sleeping. Hoodlums, maybe, or a group of weirdos? The kids seem fixated on these doll things. They stare out the window at them all day. I even heard them shout that they saw Miriam standing around them, but when I looked, there was nobody there. Maybe it's the strange behavior of the kids or the hours of driving these farm roads at night, but this place is getting to me. I keep having the same nightmare where I'm standing outside the church looking out into the fields. I can see people looking back at me through the rows of corn. Their bodies are painted red. People with painted red bodies. So that's something that initially I didn't realize, is that not only are these people... I thought that they were just red because that's the clothing that they wore. No, these are people who have fully painted their bodies red. So these people over here, fully painted red, which is very weird to think about. I thought of it more as just imagine the Order of Ezek from Papers, Please. Just that, but red is what I thought it was. But no, just full on body paint. Can't tell if that makes it more or less creepy. I know there's something I'm supposed to do in this room, but I forget exactly what it was. Another interesting thing you can find in the goodies folder is links to stuff about exorcism and possession and stuff like that, which I think is really cool and, sort of creepy. When you're seeing these things in real life folders and real life documents, it really makes you feel like what's happening is real. Even though, there's a part of your brain that knows, this is all horror game, possession stuff isn't happening. That stuff that, the game goes an extra mile to do to just sort of try to make you believe that this could actually happen is... I like it. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying. Another thing that I really like in the goodies folder is a production sketchbook for Chapter 2 that shows, original ideas and, just how Erdorf came up with the ideas and stuff like that. I think is really cool. Did I need to re-exercise that painting? Because, okay, now finally the skull is actually working. Just like before, there's a demon here. Exercise the skull. Walk away. I had no choice, is what he said. I think it's very, creepy sounding. Gives me, brainwashing sort of imagery. Or, the feeling that, everyone here is also possessed by some sort of creature. Should have known this place was no good. The signs were all around me. The disappearances, the creepy twins, life-size stick dolls. 4 of them. Around 2 a.m, we woke up to the sound of an old woman's cackle coming from the hallway outside the kids' room. I know this sounds crazy, but when we got to the hallway, the laughing was coming from a painting of the Virgin Mary. I thought we'd lost our minds. Just then, we heard a loud noise coming from the chapel. We got there just in time to see Miriam drag the kids down the stairs, leading to the basement. I drew my service weapon, but was stopped by Father Clark. He said something about God's work and headed down the stairs, sealing the opening to the stairs behind him. The stairs don't seem to open from this side. All I can do is wait. I can't describe the noises I heard coming from down there. But one thing is certain. The devil is real. To anyone reading this, please, for the love of God, don't go down into that basement. So this little picture wasn't here before, and if you'll notice, it's a picture of seemingly someone with a red hand coming out of a hole in their face. Kind of like what we saw with Amy, huh? I really like the sound design in this game because it's always so creepy, and some of the noises that, you know, the monsters make later is just, gosh, so dang terrifying. Pick up a flashlight. Could hardly see down here. Got these weird stick thingies. Got some skeletons, which, you know, doesn't seem great for Father Clark if he went down here and sealed himself off. So we can see purple children once again running around in this basement. You attack this thing by just holding up your cross. It'll say stuff like "suffer the children," but it'll also say things like "here I come," which means it's going to run at you, and "I'm here, priest," which means that it's somewhere in the room and it's not moving. I think the addition of the purple children running around in the basement is really good, along with like the gray figures and stuff like that, just like stuff that you see out of the corner of your eye when you flash your light somewhere. A lot of this game I just really, really love. Here is the ritual of the door to hell. Let no brother or sister utter it. He that is master of the spirits, let 3 spirits that follow the dragon be put into the effigy of the accursed. Only then can it be purified. You will know it is time when its eyes glow red. To enter the unseen world, destroy the purified effigy with fire. Then shall the door to hell be opened. This is the ritual of the door to hell. Let no brother or sister utter it. So this is seemingly different from the note that we got in the first chapter, because that mentioned like taking 7 from their mothers and lowering it down into the but we don't see that anywhere here. There seem to be multiple rituals that open portals to hell. So we could follow that purple child up there, and that'll lead to an ending.
Here I am. Very good. What I am about to do has not been approved by the Vatican.
But if we pause the game, you'll see that at the bottom, we have like a point system. We have 660 out of 666 points. To go ahead and finally get these final 6 points, we want to head down here, all the way back down here, past the dog, past all of the statues, and we'll see the scarecrow has symbols around it now. We can crucify it, giving us our final 6 points. If we look at it, it still has that hole. What you have to do here is a little bit weird, and I don't know how you're supposed to figure this out, but what you have to do is you have to go back to your car that's on fire, run into it, catch on fire, and then run back to the scarecrow.
about to do has not been approved by the Vatican.
And we get this little picture for getting all 666 points and getting the secret ending. So that actually has some setup for some later stuff. The setting yourself on fire to set something else on fire. You know, the weird, like, bug thing that we turned into. And that weird creature in the cloak. As well as all those children that, you know, appeared around us when we set the scarecrow on fire. But I think that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And in the next episode, we're going to go ahead and start up the actual Chapter 2, because remember, this was just the prologue. So we're going to have a lot more stuff to do in the next episode, a lot more confusing stuff, and some more mysteries that we need to unravel. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!